Hey, what's up, y'all? Doing another live. Yeah, I had to cut that video off, the other video off, because fortunately I had to have my friend. She decided to go ahead and take me back down here to Newport News, even from Richmond at that time. So, but the reason for doing this video is I came across Professor Black Truth's uh audio here talking about what I said a little bit in one of my lives earlier today about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez victory over longtime Democrat Joe Crowley, New York Democratic Congressional primary, and her victory, and what does it mean for us? I did says I don't know if I say something in the one of the previous lives, but hey, what's going on, brother Nubian? Peace to you, brother. I don't know if I said something in the lives. I may have said it in some. I may have said it in somebody else's channel. Probably one of the alternative media news sources about Ocasio Cortez. It may have been in shoot, what's that old boy's name? Mikasa Sukasa. I can't remember what his name is. That's his channel. I think I said something on his channel about that, about her victory, saying that she's not first. I could have said it in one of the lives earlier today. Could have been even the first or second live that I did earlier today. It could have been one of those two. But yeah, Professor Black Truth did a video on it. I don't know why I didn't read on whether he just started it or whether he did it earlier today or whether he did it yesterday. But yeah. Yeah, how you doing, August Dreams? Good to see you in here. Yeah. Good seeing you in here, Queen. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and play it for y'all. And he basically just to give y'all a synopsis that he gonna explain as to why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez victory over longtime Democrat Joe Crowley in that New York Democratic Congressional primary is is a victory that is not going to benefit us because Alexandria is not for being black first. So now I'm gonna go ahead and for y'all. Hold on, if this thing plays. Now act like you don't want to play now. Fuck. YouTube does this on YouTube. Gosh. Come on, YouTube. Ah. I don't know why it's not responding. Signal is just terrible here. This is just ridiculous. I really need to get some Wi-Fi. This don't top of damn sense. The Wi-Fi, this shit just go berserk. Hold on, let me see something. It's probably not gonna make that much of a difference. The place it was playing fine. Yeah, sorry about that, family. This thing was tripping on me. Yeah, I don't know if y'all still in here or not, but yeah, let me go ahead and play this audio from Professor Black Truth real quick. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully his signal goes through well. All right, hold on.
Yeah, I know what the title of the video is, but before we get to that Hispanic woman who won that New York Democratic primary on Tuesday, we need to preface this with the fact that the only reason I'm even bringing her up is because you got so many black people who are so stupid, so dense, so pathetic, so desperate to get other people's approval, especially sexual act, to justify this perverted impulse. And since we're on the subject of perverts and being impulsive, that brings us to Maxine Waters. Oh, you've heard all about her this week, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seems that Auntie Maxine is on fire these days. You know that some white folks, or at least some, must be responsible, because she never gets this worked up over black people. She's telling people that they ought to protest Donald Trump's officials wherever they go in public. She's furious after Trump detained some illegal aliens' kids. Now, Maxine Waters didn't tell people to protest President Obama when he did absolutely nothing about white thugs with badges who murdered black children in the streets.
Exactly.
She didn't tell black folks, or anyone for that matter, to confront Obama and his lackeys because Maxine Waters, like the rest of the blackness leadership class, has no principles. Other than making sure that white supremacy is perfectly happy with her, she's their safe, angry Negro. That's her job. Her job's to be the angry Negro, but only within the bounds that are prescribed by white supremacy. She doesn't do anything outside of what white supremacy would approve of. She knows that there's only so far she can go. Oh, but she seems to have gotten a little carried away with herself. You see, Maxine Waters occasionally misunderstands the place that she actually occupies under white supremacy as she sees it. She's a political socialite. That's how she sees herself. You may look at her as a black politician. Some of you clowns call her a black leader, though nobody else does, because you listen to too much white media programming. But with Maxine Waters, when she's away from you, she sees herself as a political socialite. She understands that she's actually a media personality. She damn sure isn't a representative for her constituency. Being an empty blowhard, that's just her shtick. That's what she does for the cameras. That's her persona. It's what the white powers that be expect from her. She's controlled opposition, and she knows it. And this isn't some new development. Maxine Waters is like John the Loser Lewis way back in the 60s. She understood the part that she was to play in propping up white supremacy. She knows the game, and at this point, it's all she's good for. Like the rest of the civil rights retreads, Maxine Waters doesn't run for office. She walks for it. She's a cheerleader for the Democrats. Sis boom ba, rah rah rah. Unless you have the power and willingness to enforce discipline on the organization that you're supposed to be a part of, then you're a liar when you claim to be a leader within it. But in all honesty, I can't think of any Democrat, even black ones, who would call Maxine Waters a leader of or in anything. Telling people to not be nice to Donald Trump's staff, that's childish and pointless. It achieves nothing. In fact, it will ultimately get the Trump team some sympathy when you have the inevitable video surface of people yelling at this or that Trump staffer, who will, of course, predictably just sit there calmly and take it, seem like the most reasonable person in the room. What Maxine Waters has done is essentially hand the Trump administration a lifeline, hand them a freaking life preserver. What is trolling Trump stooges publicly supposed to accomplish for black people? That's what I want to know. Forget about what it's supposed to do for the Democratic Party. I want to know what the hell it's supposed to do for black people. What does this get us? How does this help us to achieve anything even remotely looking like power, wealth, or influence? Does nothing for us. Accomplishes nothing, means nothing. Which explains, of course, why Maxine Waters is demanding that. See, that's trolling Trump and his staff, yelling at them in public or telling them, get out of my restaurant. That's not a political strategy. In fact, it's not even a political tactic. This is a total waste of time. And that's why she's advocating it. But this is the best that she could do at getting some quickie headlines for herself. She saw a wave, and I guess it just goes to show how dull what passed for her senses have become. She thought to herself, I'll just get out there and try to be the most outrageous person in the room. It worked, but not the way that she wanted. Those of us who are the new voices of black media, we have warned you to never get out there trying to show white liberals that you want to be the voice of their movements or this or that moment of political upheaval. As black people, we need to be learning what a lot of these other groups have done, which is we need to sit back in the cut and let these other people take crowbars and billy clubs upside the noggin, but then we come in at the last minute and we're off with the goods. It's stupid for any black person, and we see video after video of some black person who thinks because some white folk are out there, they got to start performing for them. So they decide, I'm going to be the loudest person out here. I'm going to outdo my good white friends and show them that I care more about your issues than you do. That's sure to give me a pat on the head. Well, as Maxine Waters found out this week, it backfired in her face. Those same white liberals who she was trying to impress, they're the ones saying, go sit down and shut up, Maxine Waters. And there's a lesson in that for black people in general. First of all, these good white liberals that you're trying to impress, they're only going to use you as a crash dummy. That's it. You take the arrows and the police tear gas and the beatings, and then some white person comes along and steals the spotlight. We saw that with the whole Me Too charade. Though black memories are very short, every group uses us for that purpose because we allow them to. Hell, we volunteer for them to. We practically demand that they do. We're the ones who show the courage to cross that line. We take the harsh and often violent consequences necessary to enact social change or to forward this or that movement, and then these other groups sweep right in and take the credit or whatever benefits that we were fighting for themselves. But the second reason that you really don't want to make it a habit to try to be the loudest advocate for some white movement is that what's likely to happen is you see these white folks doing to Maxine Waters. If your attempt to impress them winds up backfiring, then they're going to turn around and denounce and abandon you. That's what happens when you get out there and your attempts to one-up your white liberal pals doesn't pan out. They're not going to say, well, you know, they tried or move along. They're not going to sit there and try to downplay it or to try to run interference for you or to tell people, well, you know, we got to think about the good that was going on here. You know, they're not as bad as all that. Hell no. If you're black, what they're going to do is they're going to say this person's out of line. And they will be unabashed about it. They're going to stay on code that if a black person's out there being loud and obstreperous, we don't make excuses for that. Now, a white person can do it and they'll run interference for them 5 ways from Sunday. They'll have a cheering section of white people on TV and on the internet saying, well, it's not as bad as all that. You ought to lay off this person. Come on, you're making too much of it. But a black person, nah, this is time to show that. See, we're able to call out people on our side of the aisle who go too far. Yeah, if they're not white, you can. If they're black, they'll definitely call it out. You see people on the so-called left time with their rhetoric, but you almost never see this kind of vitriol from the white powers that be towards them. So black people, once again, stop trying to be the Negro who proves to white people that you care more about their issues than, because that little bit of tomfoolery never has a happy ending. And speaking of black folks who just don't have the sense to understand when they shouldn't cheerlead for someone, you should compare the shameless sucking up and in a few cases, no doubt, sucking on of these black publics to the recent New York congressional primary victory Tuesday of one Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And it's a good thing that I got her name in front of me because I can't remember her name for squat. That's the thing that gets me. All these Hispanic folks running around with these overly convoluted names. And I know that on the average, usually there's like 6 names, you know. It'll be like Jorge Gonzalez Guzman de Tilapia, whatever. But in this case here, I can't even pronounce her name, so I won't even try. But this Cortez woman, she boldly declares that the reason she won was because she knew her community better than her opponent. See, that's a Hispanic woman who ain't afraid to drop the racial code words. The 14th district is something on the order of almost 50% Hispanic. And you got a hell of a lot of immigrants there. I think half the constituency there, not even constituency, half the population there are immigrants. This woman has no problem saying that she's Hispanic first. She said it in all but name. This woman has all sorts of black people, especially black women, though you got a lot of black men who apparently are desperate to sniff her dirty drawers. And all of you thirsty black males out there who call yourselves trying to explain to me why it is that we should be cheering for this woman, y'all are just 5 candy-coated flavors of stupid. You got a lot of black Negroes out there, a lot of black men, I'm not ashamed to say, who happen to be so freaking thirsty. Like they've been in the desert 5 years.
Oh, gosh.
These idiots came on my Twitter feed trying to explain to me why, Professor Truth, you need to understand how this is a victory for black. There's some stuff in it for black folks. This woman did nothing to reach out to black people. And that was deliberate on her part. She was doing it to make a political point. You see, you're stupid enough to let these white folks tell you about, oh, people of color and minorities. Man, unless they say black, they ain't talking about you. Because when it comes time to talk about crime or to talk about the other code words for black, they don't say people of color. They don't say minorities. They make sure to say black. When it comes time to say something detrimental or demonizing, when it comes time to say something disparaging, they don't say people of color. They say black. So here you are, desperate for some Hispanic approval, I suppose, or you're desperate to keep alive that delusion of interracial sexual access. You got this Hispanic woman who makes it a point that she won't say a word about black people. Over 10% of the constituency in the 14th district where she's from are black people. But you wouldn't know it by the way that she was talking. She mentioned literally everyone except for black people in her victory speech. How many times have you seen that? Every time these people win, these so-called leftists, these so-called liberals, these so-called progressives win a political victory, when they go through their laundry list of people who they thank for their victory, they don't name black people. We saw that in Alabama too with that Doug Jones guy, whoever the hell he was, that Democrat, when he beat Roy Moore, he named all of them folks. He thanked black people were not in the list. I wonder when black people are going to get it. Well, a lot of us do, but a hell of a lot of us never will. And by the way, you won't be surprised to learn that this Cortez woman was backed by Black Lives Matters. They supported her.
Oh.
And the so-called black newspaper of record, the Amsterdam News, or as Dr. Ben Yakinen called them, the Don't Give a Damn News, these guys were gushing about her victory. Oh, you'd have thought that it was the second coming of Dr. King. They basically have given a post-primary endorsement for this woman, and it still matters because she still has the general election ahead of her. But the Don't Give a Damn News has basically endorsed this woman, and for what? What the hell has she done for black people? What has she even promised for black people? Not even lip service. And yet you've got Black Lives Matters and the Don't Give a Damn News, these white surrogate organizations, desperate for interracial sexual access and even more desperate for white approval, doing what they know that their white Democratic paymasters want them to do and saying, oh, this is just a great thing for black people. Yeah, you better get in line. See, the Hispanics, they don't sit there themselves to gush for black political victories unless they're looking and going, now, what's going to be in it for us? This black politician, you better curry the favor of the Hispanic vote, If they think that a black politician will do that, they're fine. But if you got a black politician who they don't think that they get anything out of, then they're silent. And they damn sure don't ever speak up for black people, especially when a Hispanic has harmed a black person. People like Black Lives Matters and the Don't Give a Damn News, these white surrogate organizations, they are not merely dangerous to us, they are lethal to us. They are part of the white supremacy's mind control apparatus. They get some front Negroes to get out there and spew the party line, and a lot of you will go for it because you tell yourselves that a black person wouldn't sell you out. Now, you've seen certain of the white media trying to forward this narrative that this Cortez woman apparently is very interested in making sure that all sorts of leftist issues that are apparently important to black people are brought to the fore. She's going to be a champion of it. Why? That was her political platform. Her political platform were things like Medicare for all, tuition-free college, criminal justice reform, and federal jobs, and all of that. That was her political. Those were the planks of her political platform. And a lot of black people are going, well, those are things that are important to black folks. Yeah, but the thing to remember is the only victims of police violence that this woman's looking out for are the Hispanic ones. You never heard this Cortez woman say a single word about George Zimmerman. She never said a word about that Yanez creep who murdered Philandro Castile. Never said a word about Anita Alvarez. She's made it clear that black people are a non-entity to her. On the one or two occasions that she actually lowered herself to talk about black people, she always did it in language so vague that it could have been about anyone. She uses the anonymous fluff speech, people of color, minorities, never black. You know something, those of us who got our heads on straight, those of us with the B1 mentality, we don't give a damn about minorities or people of color. We only care about what anyone is going to do for black people. We are black first. Not minority first, not people of color first, right. Black first. Black. And that's for a reason. See, she leaves black people out of the discussion deliberately. Mm-hmm. We demand that black people be the sole focus of discussion deliberately.
Facts.
She made it abundantly clear that she's going to do nothing for black people. And yet you got these black bootlicks and these brain dead, mostly I'd say black males who are looking at her and going, I wonder if she'll give me a shot. She won't, stupid, but thanks for asking. And yet these clowns are celebrating her win and endorsed her candidacy. They don't know what the hell they're endorsing. They do know what they're imagining that they're endorsing, though. Mm. This is political genocide taking place. And you have these black media whores backed up by these thirsty dimwits who are leading the charge. And the white media tries to get us to cheer against our own interests. And sadly, it seems to be working with not a few of us. Let me give you the facts about this district where this Cortez woman comes from. She comes from New York's 14th district. Now, from what I've found online, that district has a little over 710,000 residents. That's nearly 750,000 people in that district alone. Yet, out of that massive number, only about 292,000 of them are active voters. Perhaps that's because half of the 14th district's residents are immigrants. I'm not making that up. About 50% of the 14th district's residents are, in fact, immigrants. And out of the 292,000 active voters, on Tuesday, only a little over 10% could actually be bothered to show up to vote. A paltry 28,000.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, that district has 11% black citizenry. 11% of the district's voters, 11% of the district's residents are black. Mm-hmm. That's more than 28,000, folks. 70% of the 14th district's residents are people of color. But remember, it needs to be remembered that 11% of that are black, 16% are Asian, and nearly 50% are Hispanic. So black voters are the smallest ethnic group in that district. And yet, potentially, if the black vote rallied, they could have that place on lock. I mean, for God's sake, when you have 292,000 active voters, but only 28,000, only 10% show up, what does that tell you? And by the way, why is it that with a district that's nearly 50% Hispanic, why have they consistently voted for a white guy all this time up until now? Well, part of it is that most of them can't vote legally. But for the few who can, they look at that white guy as the man who they aspire to be. They don't look at him as white. They look at him as the guy who they want to grow up to be. And speaking of people who need to grow up, this Cortez woman, when you listen to her post-primary victory speech, she doesn't mention black people at all. She gives a laundry list of people who she wants to thank, but black folks ain't among them. Just hear it for yourself.
And that this victory belongs to every single grassroots organizer, every working parent, every mom, every member of the LGBTQ community, every...
black folks, people of color, yeah. I had a bunch of Hispanics around her. And black folks, some black folks, can't access blinders on. Or I want to get a pat on the head by being your black friend. Some black folks are so far in denial they are a danger to us. We got to call this out whenever we see it. Now, I don't have any figures, by the way, as to the gay population of the 14th district, but I highly doubt that it's as high as 11%. I would doubt that more than 3% of the 14th district's residents are gay, LGBTQ, RSTU, VWXYZ, whatever it is this week. I would say that the black vote outnumbers them, but as far as she's concerned, well, the black vote went for this other guy, this Joe guy, whatever his name was.
Oh,
they went for Joe Crowley, so I don't care. But then again, even if the black vote went for her, she still wouldn't care. Come on, all of you interracial sexual access morons out there who want to tell me that this woman's agenda somehow could conceivably benefit black people. You would think that this little heifer would be reaching out to black voters. After all, she hasn't won the seat yet. She still has yet to win the general election. That's in a few months.
Right.
But early data has the Democratic contender, an unnamed Democratic contender, up by 29%. That's what the polling say. You know, would you vote Democrat in the upcoming general election? 29%. She has a 29% edge by that standard. So if she sees it, hey, it's a fait accompli that she's going to win. After all, the Democrats held that seat for God knows how long. And as she herself said, she knows her community. The key word there being her. And it ain't you. If you're black, it ain't you.
Exactly.
She's making it boldly clear. I mean, I guess some black people are so dense, they would need for her to put up a billboard saying, I'm not looking to have any black-brown alliance. I had some morons who clearly ate too much lead paint as children actually have the nerve to come on my Twitter feed and in one breath say that she advocates for things that are important too, and then in the very next breath, they say that women be waving the flag for Latinos first because she's one of them. Well, I'm not talking about whether or not she waves the flag for Latinos. I'm talking about the fact that she doesn't mention black people in any shape, form, or fashion at all. These idiots are so stupid, they had no idea that they had contradicted their own meaningless point. The positions that she expressed during her campaign, she wasn't doing it for the benefit of black people. She was only thinking of Latinos. What black person gives a damn about abolishing immigrations and customs enforcement anyway? That's what she's been talking about ever since Tuesday. And to any microphone that would listen, we need to stop these detentions on the border, and we need to abolish immigrations and customs enforcement. She says that constantly. That's a Hispanics care about immigrations and customs enforcement because they don't want to get deported. And when she talks about federal jobs, she sounds just like that Latina human resources director at your job. You know, the one who only hires fellow Latinos. You would think that black people have had enough experience with that one by now to see through that scam, but apparently some of us will never learn. After all the time that I and others have spent teaching and reteaching you this basic pig simple point, and yet some black people are so dense they totally miss that when politicians talk about the issues, there's what it means in regards to their core constituency, usually white, and then there's what it means in when Trump talks about bringing jobs back, he ain't talking about jobs for black people. He's talking about jobs for good racist white folks. Right. When he talks about we got to put an end to American carnage, he talks about Chicago. Meanwhile, you got white guys going into the newspaper rooms in Annapolis and blowing people away. You got white guys going into courtrooms blowing people away. You got white guys going into schoolrooms nationwide blowing away white children. Trump ain't got nothing to say about that. Move along, folks. Nothing to see here.
Ethnic names.
Oh, but if there's a couple of gangbangers fighting over turf in Chicago, well, you know, the black community needs to get this crime thing under control.
Really?
See, when he talks about law enforcement, when he talks about crime, he ain't talking about white folks. He's talking about black people. And when this Cortez woman talks about Medicare for all, tuition-free college, criminal justice reform, federal jobs guarantee, Hispanics getting free health care. Same way that illegals get it in emergency rooms today. When she says tuition-free college, she's talking about so Hispanics can get to college free. After all, black people were...
That's the same thing. I had to stop it. That's the same. Bernie Sanders talk about Medicare for, you know what I'm saying, and criminal justice reform, and, you know, all these free college for all and all of that. Bernie Sanders white folks either. He was really talking about white folks. Or the people who look like Bernie Sanders, they're going to benefit from this. But as far as us black folks being concerned, we're not going to benefit. And that's the point that Professor Black Truth is making. You know what I'm saying? Whenever a candidate runs for any type of seat, they're gonna run. They're not gonna, if they're not black, they're not gonna be for black first. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, when our people run, they're not gonna be for black first either. You know what I'm saying? Which is why we must hold our vote out until somebody has us in mind. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue.
The ones who fought to integrate the schools, and then the Hispanics have used that to their advantage and haven't even so much as thanked black people one time. You would think some black people would get it by now. White liberals talk all the time about decriminalizing marijuana, and many of them will cite that black people are disproportionately locked up for drug violations. In fact, the majority of black people behind bars at any given time are there because of the harshness of the drug laws. Well, on paper, decriminalizing marijuana seems like a big win for black people, at least on paper, if you judge by the rhetoric, except in every state where they have decriminalized, disproportionately arrest black people for it anyway. The laws may have changed, but the arrest of black people have not. It's as if the laws had not gone into effect, at least where black people are concerned, and that's because they haven't. You shouldn't be arresting black people at all for something that's not a crime, and yet for some damn reason, where black people are concerned, it's still a crime anyway. Decriminalizing marijuana didn't do anything for black people because it wasn't meant to. It was meant to open up potential revenue for the state, but they want to have their cake and eat it too. Cortez knows this rhetorical reality of American politics, the color-coded rhetoric, just like every other politician in America. So for the slow coasts out there who are clearly looking at this Latina woman who ain't even that pretty and thinking about interracial sexual access, when she talks about criminal justice reform and free tuition and federal jobs, she ain't talking about black people, stupid. Seems black people never get tired of putting on the cape for other groups. We care more about their plight than they do. I mean that seriously. Black people as a group seem to think that our identity, the sole core of our existence, who we are, is to care for everyone else except ourselves, above and beyond what even they do. And if you want a good example of how hopelessly stupid a lot of black people are, consider this. CBS recently conducted a poll regarding Donald Trump's policy on immigration, specifically child separation. And in the portion of the survey, when they asked if people approved of Trump's handling of child separation, a whopping 77% of black respondents said that they disapproved. Now, that's compared to only 67% of Hispanics who disapproved. So 1 out of 3 Hispanics approve of Trump's handling of their own people. Meanwhile, you've got more than 3 out of 4 black people who are trying and failing to impress Latinos with how much we disapprove of Donald Trump's handling of them. Seems to me that if you want to get on Hispanics' good side, you ought to be supporting what Trump's doing. Apparently, a number of Hispanics do. Man, Negroes are so desperate for some interracial sexual access or to get a pat on the head from anyone who's non-black, they'll do anything. You care more about stopping Trump from deporting Hispanics than the Hispanics do. So pathetic. So desperate for approval. People see this perverted codependency on the part of a lot of you ham-headed Negroes, and it repulses them. A lot of these black folks are hoping that if they can just put on a public display of black-brown unity, then the Hispanics are going to see this and give you a thanks or an attaboy, or better yet, that they'll hop into bed with you. Now, I'm not entirely sure how reliable this poll is, but I would hazard to guess, based on what I've seen and heard, that there's more than a little accuracy to it. And black people trying to make excuses for all of this and saying that, well, I'm sure that they're going to be looking out for us to some degree. Black folks sound crazy as hell when they say that. It's a common tactic of politicians to use the most vague, flowery-sounding rhetoric that they can in order to mislead people. Hillary Clinton did that all throughout the 2016 election. talking about how, as far as she was concerned, stop and frisk was ineffective. She didn't say it was wrong. She didn't say it should be outlawed. She said it was ineffective. Didn't say she disapproved of it or disagreed with it. She said it was ineffective. She didn't say that arresting and harassing black people was wrong. In fact, she said, if you listen to what she said the opposite. As far as she was concerned, stop and frisk wasn't effective enough. These politicians don't actually promise you anything. They just say some vague rhetoric and they allow your imagination to fill in the blanks. They let you project onto their empty, meaningless words whatever you want it to mean. If you want for Hillary Clinton to be saying that she's going to get rid of stop and frisk, or she's going to criminalize stop and frisk, or she's going to stop it, why, she'll say that it's ineffective. And the fact that she's not saying, I agree with stop and frisk, you'll take that to be, oh, she's opposed to it. You ought to know by now that when it comes to the world of politics, it's all one big shade of gray. It's not a binary equation at all, except where their treatment of black people is concerned. But you let the Democrats con you into thinking that there's a distinction between them and the Republicans, and there's not. Barack Obama never said that he would change anything. He just used that as a slogan. He didn't say, I'm going to change anything. In fact, at several of his campaign stops, several of those rallies, he said exactly the opposite. He told his supporters that you are the change you've been waiting for. So Barack Obama, in front of the whole world, tells everybody, I'm not the change you've been waiting for. You're the change you've been waiting for. In other words, don't expect much from me. And you got people saying, oh, he's going to change things. And then they actually had the nerve to be surprised when he changed nothing. But Obama's supporters were so ignorant, so stupid that they decided to put words to his mouth, words that he himself never said. And we see it with this Cortez woman too. Some people are so foolish, so pathetically desperate for this Hispanic woman's political victory to mean something for them that they've become delusional. They're imagining that she said things that she never said. They're hallucinating that she promised to do things for the black community when she in fact promised the black community nothing. And when she delivers nothing for the black community, they'll be the first ones to say, I don't get it. She said that she was going to, but all of these things that she said she stood for. They put words in her mouth, imagine delusions, and then demand that the rest of us go temporarily insane along with them? No chance. Let me tell you something. You try that crazy talk on my channel or my Twitter feed, and you'll get an all-expenses-paid trip to Banland. I don't suffer fools gladly. I will, however, block fools gladly. So black folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Don't let the white media get you caught up in the hype. And don't let the white media surrogates like the Don't Give a Damn News and Black Lives Matters and all the rest of it. Don't let these clowns tell you that this means anything for us.
Exactly.
And these desperate, thirsty Negroes out here who are just drooling at the mouth, dreaming of some interracial sexual access, even if it comes from a woman who looks like a chewed up piece of chewing gum. They don't care.
Damn.
Well, you better care. This woman ain't looking out for nobody but herself and other Hispanics. That's her constituency. That's who she's down for. You know what? That's fine. But as black people, don't you make excuses for the fact that you're not black first. Because nobody else is going to be. She was unapologetically Hispanic first and only.
That's right. That's right.
My question is not when are the black politicians going to be on code for that. At this point, we've been reduced to the point where when the hell are enough of you Negroes finally going to be on board with that?
Oh, I guess that was it. He said a mouthful right there. Pretty much my thoughts too. Pretty much.
All right, I guess some people just weren't paying attention, so we're going to have to take this one from the top. President Tangerine has made a couple of headlines.
All right. Yep. Appreciate y'all for commenting. Yeah. He does come hard, don't he? August Dreams. Yeah. But you know, that's interesting, August Dreams, about that district in New York. I'm also from New York too. And you know, it doesn't really surprise me, but I do find that quite interesting though, how Joe Crowley what was representing a is mostly Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? And I think they probably voted for him is because he has a D in his name. You know what I'm saying? They do the same thing that most of our elders have been doing and are still doing, voting for whoever has a D in their name. That's why that Joe Crowley represented that district for so long. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much exactly what that is. And I probably may have mentioned and salute to everyone who came in. Rock Walla Quesayon. Peace to everybody who came in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, so this is not a surprise here. You know, it like like the Professor Black Truth says, you know, he pulls no punches on this thing. She is definitely not black first. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't surprise me that he will come out and say that, because I didn't get the fact that she was black first either. The thing is, with these progressives, whatever race or ethnicity they're in, you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna look out for us, native blacks. They're not gonna look out for us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and like you said, August Dream, every other group speaks about their own. But black people, we have to include everyone and their grandmother. Exactly. 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 Basically, like Quesson says, it's a crime to be black in this country. Yep. Yep. And they let that know, and they let us know every day in laws and the way they act towards us, way not just Caucasoids act towards us, but also Hispanics and Latinos act towards us, especially those who co-opt for team white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And people like Permit Patty, that August Dream says can be an illegal drug user, but she wasn't locked up. You know what I'm saying? You know, so we got all that going on. You know, we got all that going on because there are a lot of our people, and they come in Professor Black Truth's Twitter feed. I'm gonna have to check that Twitter feed out, you know, sometime, because I do follow him on Twitter too. About things of what some of our people are saying. You know what I'm saying? To him about that election, about that primary, the Democratic primary in New York's 14th district. You know, it's absolutely horrendous. A lot of our people are so deluded. You know what I'm saying? This like you said, August Dreams, they still drinking that Obama Kool-Aid. I will say this, they still drinking that Caucasoid Kool-Aid. That Kool-Aid ain't got no sugar in it. They still eating that unseasoned chicken. Them Caucasoids cooked them and putting it in the frying pan. How you gonna eat some unseasoned chicken? You know what I'm saying? After you fry it, and when you eat the chicken, the blood never comes out. You be like, damn, what the fuck is this, man? You trying to kill me? I don't drink blood. I'm a human being. Oh man. And like you said, V. Henderson, white people teach other races how to treat us. You know, facts. Absolutely. You know, you can see in how Arabs treat us. You can see how these white Hispanics and white Latinos treat us. You know what I mean? Shoot, they even use some of these Africans to treat us like shit. You know? And the shame is that including especially the Africans, some of these Africans, they fall right in line into the BS. They fall right in line. Hook, line, and sinker. And there it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're the last hired and the first to get fired. I mean, we're like the last people to be considered when it comes to anything. This is why we need to separate from this Caucasoid nation. This Caucasoid nation ain't for us. Following these Caucasoid rules don't benefit us either. It just keeps us depressed, oppressed. You know what I'm saying? And compressed. In which we can't go anywhere. We can't move. We can't breathe. I mean, damn. Shoot, we can't even cross the street sometimes without somebody trying to shoot us down just because we're black. Yeah. Oh, okay. I hear that. So, yeah. So, with that in mind, it's the reason. It's the reason. Why we are in the situations that we're in. And if these coons and bootlickers don't wake themselves up soon, they're going to end up finding themselves exterminated. You know what I mean? Because there's no way we're going to accept coons, bootlickers, and gatekeepers into our community if they keep for these Caucasoids, for these Caucasoid politicians, and for anybody who co-ops white supremacy, including that Hispanic who just won her primary yesterday. You know, I mean, it's like the whole mainstream media is kind of like praising her. But you know what the mainstream media was really to go against Donald Trump. I think it was on CNN. They asked, are you interested in impeaching Donald Trump? What are you going to do about Donald Trump? And she answered that she will look into impeaching Donald Trump. And like Donald Trump is the main reason why things are the way they are. Things have been like this long before that even stepped into office. You know what I'm saying? Long before he stepped into office. I mean, they CNN, MSNBC, they still focus on this Russian collusion nonsense. Yeah, that's what they really wanted that Hispanic woman to say. They really wanted to talk about impeaching him based on the Russia collusion nonsense, which is still unproven. You know what I'm saying? There's no proof that he colluded with Russia, that Russia helped him win the election. You know. Oh, I feel you, V. Henderson. Yeah, I can imagine. Exactly, August Dreams. Like you said, all traitors have to go. Facts. Exactly. So, yeah, so we can't celebrate that she won that primary. You know what I'm saying? Because these progressives, you can't trust these progressives. You can't trust none of these progressives. These progressives are not really progressives. What we're doing, I feel, is progressive. It's more progressive than what these so-called progressives are doing. You know what I'm saying? See, these so-called progressives, they don't know what it means to be progressives. These progressives See, these progressives, their problem is that they're too intersectional. You know what I'm saying? They want to include everybody, including the LGBT community, including the white liberals, including the white poor folks, including this person, including that person. No, fuck all that. Fuck all that. The way to really be progressive is to be black first. That's the progressive way to go. That's the only progressive that we should be gearing towards. That's the only thing that we should know. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Like you said, Randy, the delusion that a lot of our people have is the reason why Orange Tangerine is going to be reelected. As a friend of mine that I was staying with, she just said the same thing too. You know what I'm saying? This Orange Tangerine is going to end up being reelected. You know, because our people, a lot of our people are still deluded, and these congressional black caucasoids, they're not helping our cause. They're not helping anything. They're actually leading us to the slaughterhouse. Exactly, August Dream. Progressive is just that, a new catchy term. Yup. That's all it is. That's all it is. You know. So so the stuff that I was showing y'all earlier in the other lives is there's a reason why we should be black first. You know what I'm saying? And that one video where there was the people out there in the city of Portland, and that was live. That was live that we saw that morning. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, ain't no people there. They all got evicted. You know what I'm saying? That's just telling right there. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, so there's no reason to celebrate. No reason to celebrate at all. But the mainstream media, they're going to celebrate because, oh, this is a new fresh face that is going to elevate the Democratic Party. Oh, I agree, V. Henderson. Oh, Orange Tangerine is very self-centered. He's so self-centered. He don't even. I don't even think he probably don't. Well, sometimes I don't even think how. Sometimes I don't think he doesn't realize how self-centered he is. You know what I'm saying? Because it says it's like he just do it to get attention, and then the thing is, people pay him attention. You know what I'm saying? People respond to him. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like he's going to respond back, in which he's not. You know what I'm saying? But I guess he doesn't mind, because as long as people are responding to him, he's going to keep making those tweets. Yep, he's going to keep making those tweets. There's no truth in them. There's no truth in most of those tweets, you know? So, I mean, shoot, virtually none of his tweets ain't like first. It's not about the people. But, you know, you can't tell the average coon and bootlicker that. Where they say, well, we still got to impeach him. What you going to get after Trump? Pence? Pence ain't any better. I mean, shit. If anything, Pence is worse than Trump, because Pence is more wickedly smarter than Trump. You know what I'm saying? More wickedly smarter. And that's the thing. And Pence is definitely not for black first. He could care less about us. Any Caucasoid politician, regardless of their political party, they're not black. I mean, Bernie Sanders is not even black first. He went to the same high school I went to, Madison High School. He's also from Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, I know, right? Quashio ain't off Twitter. Oh, man. Yup, that's it. Cause he sure do hog Twitter. Exactly, Randy. Facts. Oh yeah, I wish I would have showed the article on California being split into 3 states. There's some talk about that. Yeah, what is it? North California, South California, and New California. New California is like around where the coastal areas is at. From like the Riverside, California, all the way to up like where almost to like where Selena. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And North California is just mainly northern part of California. Southern California, like including like San Diego, Los Angeles, Inglewood, probably San Bernardino. You know what I'm saying? All around the southern and southeast California. Yeah, Croissant. They negotiations on turning California into 3. That's funny, August Dreams. I know, right? I know. Where is Dominant Silk? I ain't really been hearing from them lately. I'm sure they got their channel rocking though. Cause I did subscribe to their channel just to find out what they're saying. I don't really listen to it very long because they be on that nonsense, and I don't be wanting to listen to their nonsense. So I'm surprised they don't even have a Twitter account. They probably might need to get one. Maybe they don't know how to use Twitter yet. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, August Dreams. Better yet, they should be hiding under a rock. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But yeah, family, these man, today has been one crazy day though. The Annapolis shooting. Yeah, and I was tweeting Shanlo that notice every time I would say the last 2 shootings, the Parkland shooting and this shooting here. Notice that the perpetrator is not only a Caucasoid male, but also the fact that Caucasoids give him an ethnic name such as Cruz or Ramos. You know what I'm saying? Just to make them look more ethnic. What's up with that? I'm gonna tell you what that is. It's because they're making white Hispanics look like the mass murderers. You know what I'm saying? And which in effect, you know, lays the blame on people of color, even though they have pale skin. You see what I'm saying? That's what they doing. And when you look at the pictures of them, they're 100% Caucasoid. They look 100% Caucasoid. There's no way they Hispanic Latino unless that family was colonized in a sexual way hundreds of years ago. Oh man. Not only did they colonize their land, they colonized their bodies. They colonized them sexually, you know. Yeah, that's it. Right. And that's the thing that needs to change. A lot of our people, they got to change their thinking on how they approach voting now. They have to really change their thinking. They have to start thinking black first. If more of our people could get this mindset, think of how much of a difference it would be. You know what I'm saying? To where somebody in their community would consider running for office, speaking on the platform of let's address the school to prison pipeline. Let's address mass incarceration. Let's address, uniting black families together. That's what really needs to happen. If we could get that conversation going, we'll come along a lot better as a people. A lot better. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to play for y'all this evening. Anyway, I'm gonna get ready and go ahead and let me see something here. Cause it's funny, I see information man, he's on live now talking about illegal immigration. Yeah, I see he got his and the impact on wages. Yeah. So I'm sure there might be other people going live too this late at night. But yeah, that's pretty much mainly what I want to say. Oh, okay, August Dreams. Okay. Oh, he's doing one in a few minutes. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad they send it in advance. You know what I'm saying? So people can remember to go. You can also set the reminder too on your YouTube account to so when you get that notification, you can jump right on into the live stream, which is great too. But yeah, watch that though. Of these white mass killers and how some of them they actually put ethnic names on them, on these Caucasoid killers. Yeah, this is to actually put Caucasoid names on them to make them look more ethnic. I mean, these Caucasoids put ethnic names on them. You know what I'm saying? As to make it look like they're not 100% Caucasoid. That doesn't matter. They're Caucasoid regardless. I don't care what their daggone name is. Never be fooled by the name. I mean, there's some people named Lopez who look pale skinned, so you can't trust those Lopez's even if they're pale skinned. Ah! Oh man. Yep. Oh, exactly, Randy. The closet racists are always the most dangerous one. And you know the most closet racists is these white liberals. And most of these white liberals, some of these white liberals are progressives. And you can't trust them. White liberals and progressives together, they cannot be trusted. You know what I'm saying? They cannot be trusted. You know, and I can name some progressives that we should not be trusting. You know what I'm saying? You can watch their videos and depends on the topic that they speak on. See, the problem with a lot of these progressives is that I forgot to mention that they also include immigrants, such as especially Mexican immigrants. You know what I'm saying? And who co-opt for the system of white supremacy. Now, for the immigrants who are Muslim, who are living in these mostly Muslim type nations that Donald Trump has banned from coming into this country, including North Korea and Venezuela. Those people he has banned. You know what I'm saying? I could see that. I could see that being I could see that being bigoted. You know what I'm saying? Because most Muslims are not terrorists. Most of the terrorists are in this country who are Caucasoid males. Those terrorists. Those are your terrorists. Terrorists don't come from Islamic countries, Islamic nations. If anything, all these Islamic nations that have these what you call it is that have all these Islamic organizations such as Hamas, Hezbollah, Al Qaeda, Taliban, you know, all of them. They're created by the U.S., British, and Israeli intelligence agencies to confuse the general public into thinking that Muslims are terrorists. You know what I'm saying? They're basically there to create confusion. In other words, they're not here to they're not real Muslims. Those organizations are not real Muslims. Even the Muslim Brotherhood is not a real Islamic organization. You know what I'm saying? So they don't represent the true meaning of Islam. You know. So we just have to be aware and take a real clear look at what is in front of us, because it's obviously getting to the point where these Caucasoids are desperate and trying to pad their numbers up to make it look like they're not losing any people, when in truth their population has been dropping since the 1980s. Exactly, August Dreams. Oh, you might be right about that, Randy. About California not turning it into 3 states. It's just something that they were talking about. They always talk about something when it involves California. I mean, shoot, one time they talk about California seceded from the Union. Well, they actually really talked about some of the southern states seceded from the Union. That hasn't happened yet. Obviously, that's been shot down, you know. But if we was to ever have our own black nation, it would have to be on an area where the soil is beneficial for us, where we can easily plant things, where we can actually have something that is on solid ground. You know what I'm saying? And shoot, even if it's something that's a warmer climate, that's fine too, because we can handle the sun. We'll let those Caucasoids stay up north. But I know one thing for sure: the Confederacy is not making a comeback. Uh-huh. Oh wow. Whoopi Goldberg. That's the last person I would expect to see to say something like that. Ooh. She better be careful. She might think that's what that name of that show is, The Talk. One of those panels she's on. Yeah, with those other white women. I think Sharon Osbourne. That's she's on the other panel with Joy Behar, Sonny Holston, and another person. But you know, there's so many of them I can't remember the names of them. They got quite a few panels up there. Then they got the other panel of sisters with Lonnie Love and Adrienne Bailon and it was Tamara Mowry, I think, was on there in that panel, and Jenny Oy, I think her name is some Asian girl named Jenny Oy. I think that's what her name is. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's that other panel. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. So yeah. So that's all I really want to say though. But other than that, hopefully I might do a live tomorrow. We'll see. I never did this many lives in one day. But since I had all that time off for work, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and do some more lives. Yeah, I like using my friend's computer. That was pretty great. So I could show y'all the tweets and stuff. Glad I was able to show that to y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was pretty awesome right there. Yeah, show y'all some videos and stuff rather than just hear from the audio. But anyway, other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the sack. Y'all be easy and stay black first. Peace.